Ladies and gentlemen, the United States has joined OPEC. Now, of course, the U.S. can never officially join the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. There's actually legislation against that price-fixing cartel working its way through the U.S. Congress right now. But if you look at Donald Trump's foreign policy decisions over the past 2 years, and especially over the past month, it's impossible to deny that he is acting to jack up petroleum prices. Most members of OPEC can only manipulate the price by cutting down on their own production. The United States can actively destroy the competition. The world produces something like 84 million barrels of oil a day, depending on how you measure it. That's a very big number, but until the electric cars really get going, it needs to go up to keep prices stable. A fall in that number by as little as 500,000 barrels can send prices into the stratosphere, which is the sort of thing that makes OPEC very happy. Over his 2 years in power, Donald Trump's foreign policy has forced millions of barrels off international markets, and actions this week are attempting to block millions more. Now, don't hold me to the exact figures presented in this video. They're just estimates. This is complicated stuff. A significant portion of the production of every country is retained within that country for the uses of its own economy. Also, because of black markets, even the most comprehensively sanctioned and destroyed countries are still getting some oil out there. But it's clear that crushing world oil production is a significant theme of Donald Trump's foreign policy. In fact, it may be the only consistent theme of Donald Trump's foreign policy. Let's start small and work our way up. Last week I talked about Libya, a country with a small population and outsized oil production. Back in 2010, Libya contributed 1.65 million barrels of oil a day to the world market. Then in 2011, the US and NATO destroyed Libya's government. As of April 4th, thanks to a fragile peace between warring parties, oil production had crawled back up to 1.2 million barrels of oil a day, for the first time since 2014. Then Saudi Arabia's puppet general, Khalifa Haftar, attacked the UN-approved government, and production is expected to plummet again. At the end of last week's video, I pointed out that all the U.S. had to do to improve the situation was forcefully speak out in support of the official government that it supposedly already supports. Unfortunately, Donald Trump decided to do the exact opposite. He had a phone call with Saudi Arabia's general and apparently now supports the return of full civil war to Libya. Oil prices have already spiked in response. Next up, Venezuela. This one isn't just Trump's fault, of course. The current Venezuelan government has no idea what it takes to run an oil industry. Between 1990 and 2017, Venezuelan production fell from 3.4 million barrels a day to just over 2 million barrels. As I explained in another video, this decline was helped along by opposition from U.S. banking and legal systems. But even the second Bush, a guy who was generally thought to have approved a coup against Hugo Chavez, never tried to directly disrupt the flow of oil from Venezuela to the United States. Earlier this year, Donald Trump did exactly that. Between just February and March, this took 500,000 barrels of Venezuelan oil production off of the world market. Now to the big one. After the signing of 2015's massively multilateral Iran nuclear deal, Iran's oil production surged, reaching as high as 4 million barrels of oil a day. In May of 2017, Trump unilaterally took the United States out of the agreement and restarted sanctions in the fall. Because of pushback over what this was doing to the oil price, Trump agreed to give waivers to some of Iran's biggest clients. On Monday, the U.S. announced the end of those waivers. This is a tremendously risky move. Iran's sanctions policy has already prompted a sort of declaration of independence from the EU, and revoking the waivers may lead to the formation of a more serious anti-US alliance. But in the short term, it's great for OPEC. What explains this insanity? Now, the conspiracy theory is obvious. By now, anybody who isn't blinded by partisanship is well aware that Saudi Arabia has purchased an American president. Most media focuses on the shameful way that Trump covers up Saudi atrocities in Yemen or the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. But it's actually the kinds of actions described in this video that are much, much more important to the Saudi bottom line. Now, I'm pretty anti-Trump and pretty anti-Saudi Arabia, so I like this conspiracy story. Congress should definitely be investigating it. But I think the real truth is actually much more simple and much sadder. The world's largest producer of oil is now the United States of America. We can't actually join OPEC after complaining about it for so long, but we are now just naturally acting more in accordance with the oil industry's interests. The New York Times reports that Republicans from oil-happy Texas were a key part of the Iran waiver decision. We are killing people in Libya, starving people in Venezuela, and seriously endangering U.S. power with Iran policy, not because we are being bribed by oil money, but because we now are the oil money. We are the cartel now. Our shady actions to prop up the oil price do fit a perverse idea of national interest. U.S. foreign policy, for at least the past 2 years, has been the main driver of oil price hikes. We are OPEC. Yuck. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and click on the bell next to the subscribe button to get notifications whenever I upload a video.